All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Toronto Enterprise DevOps User Group. This is the
Hi.
first session of the new season. We're trying to restart the season again with summer and vacations. The end of the last season was a bit slow, and we're trying again to kickstart it again. So today, this is first session of the season. We're going to be talking about the uh, GitHub Enterprise, more specifically on how to adopt GitHub within the enterprise world. And when I say enterprise, I mean typical 9 to 5 shop, right? Typical not enterprise company. All right, not the unicorn companies again, which makes sense. For those of you that first here for the first time, this is the Toronto Enterprise DevOps User Group. We meet every second Thursday of the month for the most part. We are focusing on any enterprise DevOps technologies, processes, tools that are working within the typical enterprise shop. So the topics vary from some soft skills to hard skills to some specific technologies, right? The company, oh, I'm sorry, uh, the user group is technology agnostic. At least we're trying to keep it technology agnostic or vendor agnostic. So any technology, DevOps technology that's applicable. Since this is the first session, again, there's not a lot of us today here, but so if you have any questions, please go ahead and ask, speak up. You can unmute yourself or use the chat to ask the questions. Again, we meet every second Thursday of the month. The next topic is going to be on the data pipelines. And it's going to be in October. That should be very interesting. And again, because the data pipelines and the whole data science thing, data engineering is up and coming. I don't want to say up and coming technologies, but it's very popular at the moment. Very hot topic. The one after that, in November, we're going to have a GitHub session. So we're going to talk about the GitHubs, what that is. There's going to be what that is. We're going to have demos. We're going to have, they're going to talk about different ways to implement it and so on and so forth. If you have a topic in mind that you would like to hear on or present on, please let us know. We will help you. I'm sorry, we will make sure that that again somebody will present on that topic, or again if you want to present, then we will give you every opportunity to present at this user group, because again this is a user group. Dave and I are just facilitating the user group, right? We don't want to be control everything, right? Again, it's let's make sure that everybody has a say. Any questions so far? No? Now let's jump in. Today we are talking about the enterprise DevOps, adopting GitHub in the enterprise world. A little bit about myself. I'm a consultant at Object Sharp. I am a Azure DevOps MVP. I'm a GitHub partner. I spend most of my day for the last number of years in GitHub and Azure DevOps, helping companies of the various size and types adopt DevOps. Dave?
Yeah. Oh, you're going to introduce me, even though I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to let you do all the talking because there's only two of us. It's not
All
fair
right.
for both of us being up and over. But I work with Max. Max and I've been working together for a very long time. I'm a DevOps MVP as well. Past history, I was a developer, so lots of dev experience. But more recently, it's all around Azure DevOps and GitHub and doing DevOps.
All right. Thank you, Dave.
That's me.
Oliver, do you want to unmute yourself and say hi and tell us what you do, where you are?
Sure. Hi. My name is Oliver. I'm a Java developer / architect here in Toronto area. So yeah, mostly in the enterprise space, real estate, medical inventory, things like that.
Okay.
So
Beautiful. All right. Thank you very much. Let's jump in. So, you can tell. I'm sorry. As I'm sure you know already, GitHub is a largest developer platform on Earth at the moment, right? There's millions and millions of developers. I think this number is outdated. It's not 65. I think it's 75 million developers at this point. We also have I'm sorry, there's like millions and millions of repos, thousands of open source communities. It is, in fact, it's like a de facto open source standard, right? Almost every open source project is on GitHub, if not every. GitHub become sort of like a resume or for a developer, right? So whenever you apply for a job, one of the typical questions people ask is, give me your GitHub handle. So we want to take a look, what are your hobbies, what are you working on, that kind of thing. So a lot of companies are using it. A lot of unicorn companies like the new Airbnb, Uber, Netflix, and so on. Top open source projects or companies are using it. Again, almost every major enterprise is using it as well at some point, one point or another. And there's a lot of integrations as well, right, between the GitHub and the other DevOps ecosystems. All right, let's keep going. So a little bit, what I wanted to talk about first is talk about a little bit when you implement the GitHub in the enterprise. I want to make sure that we understand the hierarchy or the setup or the structure of the hierarchical structure of the GitHub, right? So in GitHub at the top, you have the enterprise account. So enterprise account, again, that's typically set up by GitHub, and again, they add owners to it, and then you can set up additional organizations as you see fit. The billing is done at the org level. You can again distribute the billing or what's the word? Pass the bill based on organization. You can look at the bill based on organization as well. All right. At the enterprise account, for the enterprise, what I want to mention there, for the enterprise account, what I want to mention there is, for the most part, if you are running, for the most big shops, big enterprise shops, I would recommend going with this new enterprise managed user account. What that allows you to do is it allows you to avoid having a separate GitHub handle, or it gives you more control as an enterprise over the identities. So what that is when the enterprise managed user is set up, it is a private instance of GitHub, and users don't need to associate their personal GitHub handles with their corporate IDs. In fact, what's happening on the back end is GitHub will create a private, a limited GitHub handle for your account, and it will link it to your corporate ID, and that GitHub handle can only be used on that particular enterprise account. So again, you avoid you have more control with identities. You avoid the problem when somebody leaves the company. You'll no longer have to worry about that they can still get a hold of their code, because again, there's no more personal public enterprise. Public GitHub handles. Under the works, you have repos, and everything is in GitHub is very repo centric. So if you've used any other systems, it's a little bit different for most of them anyway. For GitHub, again, it's very developer-centric, so it's very repo-centric. On the repos, not on the repos, in addition to repos, you can have teams, you have projects, you can have a lot of other features inside the GitHub. But for the main part, I'm going to focus on repos and teams. So teams inside the GitHub org, defined at the org level, they can be synced to your AD provider if you want. It's very easy to do. And then you can have, again, assign teams to different repos, right? So both repos and teams are like first-class citizens in GitHub. All right. Again, if you have any questions, please ask away. So what GitHub Enterprise managed users or GitHub Enterprise, what is it called? Service? GitHub Enterprise Service, yeah, GHES. Or the GitHub Enterprise private instance, it allows you to, the advantages of the GitHub is that it allows you to focus on the, again, focus on providing developer experience that enables developers to do their best work. It allows you to, it addresses all the other stuff that developers need to address, need to take care of in order to do the job, right? So GitHub, again, it's a fully integrated environment from idea to production. So you can, there's a work item tracking, there's a work management, there's a CI/CD, there is a repos, they have a dashboard, they have advanced security, which allows you to take care of the, again, make sure your code is secure. They have a collaborative automated workflows, seamless access to open source, inner sourcing. We'll talk about that more. And again, it allows it. One of the advantages, in my opinion, of the GitHub is that it truly makes the um, shift left approach easier, right? It makes the developers involved from on their terms as far as security goes, right? You can address the security concerns right in GitHub, right? You don't have to go to a third-party solution. All right. GitHub Enterprise. Again, the uptime is 99.9. You can read the slides, right? I'll make sure the slides are available. But again, the bottom line, it's a secure, extensible, and managed DevOps platform. It's a very high, again, it's high availability, it's low TOC, and the excellent return on investment. The bottom line is it's just there. Use it, allows your developers to start using it, allows your developers to focus on the code and nothing else. All right. Again, Dave, feel free to chime in. I know it's, but Oliver, for that matter, right? Again, if you have any questions or you want to say anything, please go ahead. All right. Enterprise managed users, we talked about it. It allows you to connect your GitHub handles directly to your AAD provider, whatever that is, right? There's a SAML, single sign-on, there's a conditional access. There's a lot of really, really cool features that allows you to ensure that the that your identity story or that your authentication and authorizations is properly taken care of, right? Like this is the handles that we talked about. It has the audit logs, which are always there. You can sync it to your private log management solution as well. You can have private repos, public repos. Most people know what that is, right? All right.
You can't have private repos though. No private. Only internal and internal and private.
Yeah, thank you. But the email, you cannot have a public repo. Thank you, Dave. Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Right. All right. So access controls, there's GitHub comes with a few predefined roles. You can define your own roles, mix and like copy write, for example, and make it a custom write because you want to limit some functionality, or make a copy of a custom maintain, for example, and remove some of the features so it's not as powerful as the maintain, right? So you can have a custom repo roles. All right. And you can assign it to teams, assign it to users, all of the. All right. The one thing that I like about this, or it's different about this, or it's different compared to other systems, is that there's no deny here, right? You cannot say, I deny you permissions to contribute. You can just say, I allow you, and that's it. All right. Project management for modern dev team systems. So the GitHub issues, in the original ones, at least, right? In my opinion, they were very simplistic, right? They worked for the most part. That allows it to work in small teams. They're not very enterprise friendly. The new GitHub issues, if you have tried them, if you haven't, you should give it a shot. They are very good, right? They are very simple, very different way of doing things. And I'm gonna start at that as a demo. Can you see my screen? Can you see my, I'm sorry, can you see my browser window?
We can.
Yeah.
All right. So this is, I have like as an example, I have my own work, right? Called Automagically Work. So inside the work, I have a project. The project defined at work level, and you can link them to different repos along the way, right? So if you haven't tried this new project, they have a classic projects and non-classic and the new project, right? You can create them. When you create a new project, you get the choice, right? Saying, do you want to start with a table, or do you want to start with the board, or do you want to pick some existing templates that we already have, right? Uh, and you can customize this. This list will only grow, right? So you can start with something very simple, and then build it as you see fit. So if I start with this one, for example, right, it starts with very Excel-like experience, right? And I find it very um, this approach very refreshing, because no matter which tool I use for the client, right, which planning tool I use, one way or another, I end up in Excel, whether that's Excel or Google Sheets or anything, right? I end up with something like Excel-like experience. So what this allows you to do, it allows, again, it starts where you start anyway, right, in Excel, and then you can add and change things as you see fit. You can configure, you can add more columns, you can configure different views, and so on and so forth, right? So if I go, for example, I can create new views. I can go here and say, you know what? I want make it a board. Or you know what? Like, let me just go to one of the existing projects. It's easier to show, right? So if I go to this, I can create out of this Excel something like this. So I can create my backlog, which I can customize, obviously, right? And I can add the columns as I see fit. I can create new views and so on. So I can filter, there's shortcuts that I can use. I think it's like Windows K or something. Maybe not, but Control K. Yeah, Control K on Windows, and it's Command K in Mac. So I can, again, there's all kinds of really, really cool stuff. So I can group, I can sort. So for example, this one, I can say, you know what, go ahead and group me by status. And we'll go ahead and do this. And I can save this as a different view and use it for myself or share it. I can also look at it like, okay, so show me all of this. I can look at it as a board view, right? I can look at it I can define sprints, and I can look at it as a sprint view. And again, if I do this Control K again, for example, I can group this, and this time say, you know what, I want to, no, I want to, you know what I want to do? I want to group by sprint. So this shows me all my sprints, right? And again, I can define new sprints. There's a lot of, if I go to settings, there's a lot of things that I can do, right? I can add new fields, and if I add the new field, there's, yeah, I can get the text, I can get the number, date, single, and the O iteration, which is essentially a sprint. Single select allows me to create the drop-down list. I can define my own priorities. I can use emojis in the drop-down. Why not? I can define who can access it. I can define the settings overall, and make it, again, link it to different products, different repos. I can also define the workflows associated with it. So when something happens, go ahead and do this, right? When I don't know, when the issue is closed, go ahead and set the status to done. So I can define those as a see fit. There's a lot of those already, right? I can also, and this list will go only grow. I can, again, there's some dashboards that I can define. I'm sorry, not the dashboards, some charts that I can define that I can reuse. So for example, this one is I want to say now group by status, group by sprint. I don't know. Maybe sprint is not a good idea. Let's put it back at priority, right? Status was good, I guess. So, and then there's a lot of different things that I can pick, right? And then I can use these charts and share it. Okay. I can link. I can even I create a new item. Yeah, I can technically I forgot the combination, but I can add the issues from other projects or issues from other repos to this list. I can assign it to. I can again define the columns and whatnot. Right. There's a lot of really cool stuff that I can do. Any questions about the projects? So this allows me to plan the work right there in GitHub. Very easy, very cool. Any questions? Any comments?
No, no, thanks.
Nope.
Is
All right.
is the project associated to the repo, or is it outside the repo?
It is linked to a repo. It's outside of it, but it can be linked.
So I can link it to multiple repos.
Yeah.
Sweet.
You can take the I forgot the combination, but there's a combination that you can press that basically I want to take an existing work item from a different project or something. From a different repo. So basically you can it can be linked to multiple repos at the same time, which is very cool. All right. So I'm gonna hide this for now. And again, so the new GitHub issues is really cool. They are built from ground up. They're very flexible. They're very powerful at the moment, and they can get even they're going to get even more powerful because let's face it, this is a fairly new tool in GitHub, right? I'm sorry, this is a fairly new feature in GitHub. All right, let's go on. We talked about you can also, if you don't like that feature, by the way, you can also integrate it with Azure Boards, Jira, or anything else. So Microsoft Teams, Slack. So one of the beauty of GitHub is it's great and it has all the pieces that you need. But if for some reason you don't want to use certain features of GitHub, you can integrate it with other system as well, fairly easy, right? There's integrations, the thousands of integration possibilities. If using Jira, you can use Jira. If you are in Azure DevOps and you're using Azure Boards, the integration between Azure Boards and GitHub is beautiful. Similar again, and it's very easy to set up. It's literally just a few clicks. All right, let's keep going. CLI, GitHub CLI. If you haven't tried GitHub CLI, you should give it a shot. It allows you to do practically everything that you can do in the GUI, if not more, but do it in the command line. You can do pull request review. You can do all of that in the command line. It's very cool. All right, automation. Let's talk about the CI/CD. GitHub Actions are, what are they, 3 years old, Dave? 4? They're not that new. They're not that old, right? They're fairly new in GitHub.
I feel like they've been around a little while now, but yeah, it's probably only 4 or 5 tops.
Yeah. So the GitHub introduced GitHub Actions a few years back, and one of the main differentiators, in my opinion, of GitHub Actions compared to any other CI/CD solution is that GitHub Actions is not just about CI/CD. GitHub Actions is about practically you can use GitHub Actions to automate any functionality inside the GitHub. Right? Almost everything, not everything in GitHub can be automated using GitHub Actions. So for example, you can easily create a GitHub action that's gonna get triggered when you assign a label to a GitHub issue that's called staging label to your GitHub issue, which will automatically trigger a GitHub action that will make sure that you have permissions to staging environments, and then it will go ahead, and if you have permissions, then it will go ahead, can do the approvals, and then it can go ahead and just start the deployment of the code associated with that issue to a staging environment. again, any piece inside the GitHub can be connected, which is very, very cool. The REST API or the GraphQL stuff, the whole the REST API components of the GitHub is very powerful and very, very well documented. All right, let's keep going. So the actions, we talked, again, there's thousands and thousands of actions. Another main difference between the GitHub actions is that even though there's a GitHub action marketplace, you don't actually, the action that you're using in your that you want to use in the pipeline doesn't even have to be in the marketplace. As long as it's any repo that is accessible to your workflow. So any public repo, any internal repo, any private repo within your organization can be used, which makes it very, very powerful. GitHub Actions supports two types of actions. It's Docker-based and TypeScript-based. Again, Docker-based makes it very, very powerful because you can practically run anything because it's the container behind the scenes. They can do all the magic behind it. In my experience in the enterprise world, Docker-based is not as popular because of Windows, right? If you don't have a Linux environments, then again, the Windows containers are fairly heavy, right? So it just makes the whole experience less interesting. But the TypeScript actions are very good. And again, you can still use the Docker actions if you want to. All right, and let's keep going. All right, reusable workflows. They had this feature for a while, but they recently improved it. The GitHub, reusable actions and reusable workflows became actually usable in the enterprise, because in the past they had to be public. I think there was some kind of a limitation that made it practically unusable in the enterprise world. The reusable actions. Reusable action is a feature inside the GitHub that allows you to define the action, then reuse it by other workflows, right? So like templating essentially, which is not quite how Dash or DevOps does it, but fairly good. The actions are versioned and extensible. The action can be pinned to a specific commit, to a specific tag, to a specific branch. Anything goes. And by the way, one of the in the enterprise, you can configure your GitHub actions in such a way that only specific actions can be used, or only actions created by specific providers, by specific vendors can be used, or only actions that are coming from your account, enterprise account, can be used. So you have control of what kind of public actions can be utilized within your enterprise, which is a big deal because again, the beauty of GitHub is that it's all public, right? There's again, it's open source and there's a lot of public repos. There's a lot of really, really cool stuff out there. That's also can be a risk in the enterprise, because if you allow any public action to be run within your enterprise, you're basically saying any code can run within my enterprise, which is not great. So there's ways inside the GitHub how to protect yourself, or how to ensure that only verified or only approved actions can be run within your enterprise. Yes, and again, like I said, they're customizable and so on. There's GitHub Actions has its own secrets. So secret manager within GitHub secrets can be managed at the org level, at the repo level, and at the environment level. And again, it goes from the top to bottom. So essentially GitHub has its own secret management solution. It's decent, right? And again, my personal opinion, right? It's fairly good. It's not as good as, let's say, I don't know, the HashiCorp or HashiCorp Vault or Azure Key Vault, right? But it's good. All right. So again, you can use it. It's usable. It's definitely can be taken advantage of, the GitHub, the secret management in GitHub, but I would recommend looking into, for the proper enterprise shop, I would recommend leveraging like proper key vault solutions. Again, my personal opinion, right? Okay. what else did I want to say about the secrets? I'll get to security about the secret scanning and whatnot, so I don't want to talk about this here. Okay, let's go. Actions are used by thousands and thousands of people, to thousands of integrations for GitHub, right? GitHub Actions. It's again very, very popular, very, very widely used. Cutting edge dev tools. All right. Let's talk about the GitHub Actions for a second again. I'm going to bring back my my window on my browser. Let me know when you can see it. Can you see my window? Somebody?
We can.
All right, beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I have this in my org. I have this repo called app deploy Azure. It has a number of actions defined for myself, and so I have this action that deploys to multi environments in the pull request. So soon, again, the reason why I did it this way is because I wanted to demo the flexibility, right? So in my case, for that particular application, every time when you do a pull request from a feature branch in master, my pipeline will go ahead and it will build the code and publish a Docker image, and going to go ahead and deploy this code to dev of the approvals. Once the approval is done, it can go to QA and load test it in QA, and then it's going to deploy it to staging and deploy it to production. As soon as it deploys it to production, right? That check, pipeline check, workflow check is complete, and the PR can be merged into master. So in my particular case, I set it up in such a way that the code is the code that's already deployed to production, only then it's getting merged to master branch. Obviously, you can set it up in the way you can again. You can do requests another way. You can have a separate deployment. You can configure CI/CD any way you want to, right? In this case, it's going to go ahead and build, deploy, and so on and so forth. And what another action that I have, and by the way, if I go to any of those steps, shows when you trigger, it shows you can it'll show you logs, you can download logs, you can keep the logs, you can you can set principles and the logs and so on. Save the artifact. It's going to do all this stuff, and it's going to scan in this case using the local tools, and it's going to have and so forth. And doing I have as an example, right? To request is closed, it's going to go ahead and delete the dev. It's going to keep QA pre-prod and prod, but it's going to delete the dev environment because dev is important. Dev environments are important. Dev environments are short-lived environments for me. What I have as an example is a code kill, right? So I have enabled this code kill, which is part of the dependabot, which is going to go ahead and scan my code on a regular basis. So it's going to make sure that the and the security. Create when I create a lot of workloads. There's a lot of templates. Anything you can find this on the list. You can set up with an empty one and set it up yourself. You can do the only limit is your imagination, I guess. You can also define your custom workflows and make them available in your enterprise. You can that I want to share actions go.
It's cool because when you like Azure pipelines or Octopus, they are kind of specific. Like they're made for doing a build or release, and actions will do a build or release. Anything else you want, anything else you need to do, publish a wiki page, project.
and it's
Created.
easy to do too, right? So it's
Yeah,
right there.
very.
So yeah. So again, in my case, I have this. How do I have the name? Oh, by the way, actions have a loggers on different events in the GitHub that different actions can be triggered. You can also define the manual trigger, meaning that I want to trigger it right now. For example, to my file. Not my file. Here. This, my workload file, right? And this one will only run a request. That's the only trick. And also within my workload, request additional permissions that my workload will need. So it starts with the minimum and then asks for more, asks for what's needed, right? The YAML is fairly easy to understand, right? So in this case, I have a job that's going to build an image. I've defined a bunch of steps. Secret, I have and then which depends on my build and so forth. Right? I have also defined here reusable workflow that allows me to say, you know what, I'm going to define my deployment to Azure one way, and then everybody to use it, just pass it, and that's how they're going to be deployed. So I'm going to be taking care of all the authentication and everything. Again, makes it as easy as it can be, right? I can parallel in the deployments. It's a lot of really cool stuff that I can do. If you can also obviously do a CI in GitHub and maybe see it somewhere else. So CI will go ahead and publish artifacts into your some kind of an artifact management, and then C can pick it up from there. So you can mix and match as you fit, right? And for some reason, if you say, you know what, I like Azure pipelines, I want to use our pipelines, because again, it's another Microsoft product that takes care of the CI/CD, and it's been around for a long time. It's a very solid product. Continuous improving as well. I can integrate and run all of my CI/CD inside Azure pipelines. Also very easy to do. Any questions about CI/CD?
No.
No. So the cutting edge dev tools. One of the beautiful features that GitHub introduced recently. Well, not recently. I mean, like what, a year or something. You know, Codespace. If you tried Codespace, it should be out. Codespace allows you. It's an instant onboard. It's an instant dev environment. It's an instant Visual Studio Code with a whole bunch of things in it that you can use. Right? You can write. And define this how you want this. So the code space is not just the editor. It allows you to, it's a full-blown dev environment. You can also pick the size, right? You can define what kind of sizes that they want to use, what kind of VMs, what kind of, what size of the dev environments you want, right? 2 gigs, 4 gigs, 8 gigs, 16 gigs, whatever, right? You can also, so the dev environment, it's not just it, it's you get the terminal, you get to test, you get to more containers inside it, right? You get to host it privately, so you can build you up, deploy you up right there inside the browser. You can also share, like if you, for example, running this local internal Docker container in this in the code bases, and you can expose that port and share it publicly or privately. So you can basically run a website within Codespace, right? All applications that you're working on, and again, create the link and expose that port and send it to other people. Yeah, go ahead and take a look, right? So it's pretty cool, very easy to use. You can also define files that allow you to configure what you want your code spaces to come with when the user initiate them, right? With packages you want to be installed and so on and so forth, right? Again, very powerful. So you can define your own code space environment, right? You can make it fairly custom. All right, and it's very easy to spin up. That's the main advantage, right? It takes seconds to spin up code spaces. One of the biggest problems in the enterprise is it takes hours, days, weeks, and more often than not, it's weeks for the new developer to get on board. So before they get their laptop, before they get everything installed that they need on that laptop, it's weeks pass by, and all that time, developer doesn't contribute, right? A lot of wasted cycles, a lot of wasted money for the company. Code bases, you can spin it up in an instance. Very cool.
Very cool.
Go to GitHub Copilot. Give it a shot. It's very scary good. Basically, it's as you can use it as a like a super programming, right? So you can, as you start typing, you can when you enable typing code saying I want to have a function that will do the determine the sentiment apply. Right? It will go ahead and give you a bunch of options, saying, okay, similar people that already again have the following options for this section, which do you like? You pick, and it's gonna go, and then you modify it, so you don't have to restart and rewrite all the functions over and over and over again. Just speed up your development process by a lot. And again, it's scary good. And it's scary good in the new languages, especially in a fairly again new. It's good in the old language as well, but in the new language it's as well very good. So the whole makes the adoption of the new language so much easier. Makes you again develop how fast code. Very allows you to focus on the code versus on like syntax. Again, very cool. Also, just as well if you want. If you ever tried it, give it a shot. I think it's paid now. It's beta anymore. But what is it? $10 a month. It's that awesomeness. Pretty good. All right. I think they're also working on a way to limit within the enterprise. So, like, okay, don't. I'm pretty sure you can do it already, not now, but you should be able to do it soon. To disable things, okay, don't use my own code, and I'm sorry, don't. I'm not letting you use my code as in your GitHub Copilot kind of thing, right? Or I don't want to make sure that my code, my enterprise code, will never end up in our suggestion for other people, right? Pretty sure it's already there. I haven't checked, but I'm pretty sure it's already there. All right, first security. And, to show you right back here, right back to my repo, and I go back to my repo. I don't know if I have any money left in the account, but no. But if I have credit card associated works, I would have been able, and then I can just click on the button and I would see something along this lines. But by the way, you can also take advantage of the pre-equal, like if you hit the dot on when you GitHub open on the browser, it will open. It's a GitHub dev. It's of it. Of the terminal, it's just pure editor, and it looks like this. Very cool. So I go back, and it's free, so it's a little bit slower, right? So this is, and again, I can change it, I can write the code, I can do up, and it's free. Good GitHub code spaces has all. So if I go back to my repo, right? I can limit code spaces. I can limit. I can limit. I can call it to see I can say who's allowed. I can set up which repos are allowed to use it. I can this is like set a constraint only the following machine type. And again, this list grows all the time. So machine type that are allowed to use. So for example, go ahead and only allow people to use gigs. And I can say, you know what? Senior developers are allowed to, or back developers are allowed to use larger machines, but front-end developers are allowed to use smaller machines, that kind of thing. But again, I can decide what kind of side they can use, and again, this all comes down to billing, right? So, and they all based consumption. I also set up the port visibility, wherever they allow have, you know what, you're not allowed to create a public port. I can create a maximal idle timeout, which makes this if somebody is not doing their then delete it. So by default, it's what is it, 4 hours. I can say, you know what, if it's 15 minutes, you're not using it, you lost it. You don't lose the code, you just lose the environment. The next week, just gonna spit out that one. And retention period, how long do we actually keep it, right? All right, I'm sorry, idle out will shut it down. The retention period, how long do we actually want to keep it? And yeah, this will be really cool. That means that you can spit out on custom images. That will be interesting. And what repos you're starting with that policy. All right. You see, you don't have full control over how the code spaces are set up. And yeah, they can spit up a fraction of a second. Not fraction. Versus days, weeks. All right. Let's talk about developer first security. So, another advantage of the GitHub inside the enterprise is that it changes the ability to address security concerns early. Sure, it helps you make sure you have it secure and keep it secure, right? And make it maybe yeah, taking care of the security of vulnerabilities in code a lot easier, right? There's a chart that I might have not, right? But, like everybody's using the yeah, there's a lot of lines of code and there's a lot of dependencies. There's everybody's using the people. What's the word? People write their code from scratch anymore. There's always a dependency. They use somebody else's code that uses somebody else's code. They use somebody else's code. So a lot of potential vulnerabilities. We want to make sure that this have an easy way to address this kind of problems. GitHub Advanced Security allows you to do it. And yeah, this is that I want to show, right? So it's easier, it costs very little to address this bug, potential security vulnerability or bug in the development stage versus in, right? So in the production cost you like what is it, 1,000 times more, right? 100 times more. Then in development, and then in reach is even more, right? So catching the vulnerabilities early is very important. Making sure that you address them in the early stages easier, faster, easier, also very important. One of the main problem with the, in my opinion, with other security third-party solution that can be integrated easily with GitHub as well is that again, it's another tool that you have to go to in order for you to address the problem or understand what the technical vulnerability is. You have to go to a new tool. You have to understand that UI. You have to permissions in it. You have to know how to use it. Again, and also it's very, very, very low down, so you don't have any kind of to that problem over that found that kind of thing. So it's difficult to provide the feedback for developers and that. So that security makes it a lot easier. built in. If it's within GitHub. So again, you can address it from right there. In fact, you can enable, you can turn on certain things in GitHub, like depend and the CodeQL, that basically gonna just scan it and make sure, and suggest you changes and find your vulnerabilities. You can even go ahead and create pull requests for you that will fix that. Like if it's outdated, so they can go ahead and suggest the latest one and set pull request for you. All you gotta do is approve it, right? Review and approve it, and then it's fixed. Review, approve, test, and so on, right? Obviously. So very cool. Dependency, we'll talk about this. Yeah, so it can scan the dependencies, make sure that you're using the latest, most secure version. It can explain to you exactly what changed. It will give you all kinds of information right there inside the GitHub. You don't have to go anywhere else. It will help you understand what the problem is, how it can be fixed, and it can even fix it for you, right? Offer you a solution. Code scan, the code that we talked about, is the most advanced code engine. It's open source, so it uses I think the tagline is community-driven, expert-led security analysis tool, right? So it's really good. It's built in. It can scan and find vulnerabilities very fast. You can define your own rules. You can contribute to the community. All kinds of really cool stuff. So it can, in addition to dependency management, it can also find vulnerabilities in your code. Then, if you don't have any problems with your code, it will give you as rich information about how this can be fixed, and it can even fix it for you, right? It can offer a solution. You can accept it. You can collect the information you need. It's very. You can also easily react it, right? So if you go back, to my work, go to, let's say, this one. Lot of dependencies, right? That I turned on, but intentionally left on that fix, right? So I can go ahead and see what's going on, right? Tell me what's going on. What policies I have, what abilities you found, right? When I exactly what's going on. It'll give me all the links, all the information that I can possibly need. I can review it and also triage it, saying, you know what, this is a problem, or I will come back to it later. You can also secure this so who can deal with this exactly, right? And so again, code scan you kind of issue that can you again how this can fit, right? Show me more. Okay, oh, this is what's wrong. Right? This is how example how this can be fixed. A lot of really good information right there in the browser that you can again take advantage of. Another thing that we have in here that I have let's see if it's actually here. No. Anyways, what it also has so is in my and I can if I'm this feature, I can go ahead and where is that setting? No, it was sorry under the repo. Somebody tries to cut the token to the repo, and it happened before. I have to make sure that I actually commit a token, right? So what's new for you, it can automatically detect it and revoke that token for you. I forgot where that is. I want to see it's here. No, it's not here. It's I forgot that option. It's here. See, but you can turn it on. Candle scanning second, right? So it's a native for me because I'm not actually feature turned on my work account. And again, it can detect secret. It can warn you. It can even revoke it from the. It looks for like tens of different secret patterns, right? That's going to be looking for. You can also define your own secret pattern. So if you have on secret and altered patterns you want, you can define it there, and it's going to go ahead and find you and let you know when somebody accidentally committed that secret to the repo. Very handy. Again, the beauty is that it's all built in. It's all in one UI, and again, it empowers the developer and makes the developer life so much easier. And developers are happy to address the security as long as, again, especially if they can actually do anything about it. They don't. Again, they have the tools to do it, right? And it's allows them to do it. All right. We talked about secrets. We talked about that before. Public roadmap. You look it up. What was I going to say? Oh, that's pretty much that's it for demo. Questions?
No, no.
Anything you want to look? Any specific scenarios that you have that you want to discuss, talk about?
Yeah, I have a question. Sure. One of the things was around the notion teams and like larger companies, so free repos, right? And then it becomes difficult to know which team, like one team may in charge of multiple. Let's say that sometimes like to split their code, like persistence level, business level. Maybe there's like a UI or API level,
Okay.
So is there a way to assign to assign team to multiple repos, or even like multiple teams to manage a single repo, so that okay, this team is in charge of all these repos. There's something going on with a specific team.
So
let's say
yeah.
Okay.
So we can developers teams, right? Right now, it should have that has access to repo. Say, you know what? Developers should have access to this repo. So let me log in.
And it goes both ways, right? So you can see if you have all the repos under a team or all the teams under a repo. And then you can also set up familiar with code owners.
Sorry?
Are you familiar with code owners?
Yeah.
So code owners gives you that way to say this is the team that owns the code. So you can look there, or you can do you can set it up so in your breach protection, it checks the code owners for who needs to approve this pull request.
Right.
All of this
here.
Through the CLI API.
Oh yeah. That's exactly. I have developed teams that have access to the following repos.
Right.
And I can have, and like Dave said, I can look at it both ways. Like when I look at the screens, settings, okay, show me all the team have access to this. I'm not. Where are you? Here's all the teams that this people. I can look it from both angles. Right? Like Dave said, it's again, you can use the REST API, you can use CLI, you can manage the UI, what UI, you can do all kinds of stuff. Right? You can also, by the way, link your repo to have Azure integration or like other LDAP providers. You can also link it to a specific identity provider. You know what? Have Azure AD group. As soon as you're a member of this Azure AD group, you become a member of this team. I can add more than one like group AD groups here.
There's also actually, but you also have lists of topics. So you can, different types of repos like APIs, and you can, or maybe it's a database, or maybe it's yes. Well, you can, I mean, you can automatically you filter by server, tell you what technology to do stuff. You can set a topic on a repo so that in the find repository field, if you type in the name of the topic, you can filter the list by that topic.
Oh.
So this goes to show you, right? In the where is this? Yeah, right?
Yeah, in the gear. It's kind of in a funny spot.
Yeah, so I can go ahead and say, you know what? I have this repos. So this is my
Whole topics.
oh yeah, of course. I can pick another one in this setting. Go ahead and find. Sorry, here. So I can say this is also a demo. So now, when I'm looking at my repos, go ahead and show me all demo, and it shows me all my demo repos. Like this because it's a demo. I can click this like a category. Right? Now it allows you to organize and view repos because there's no folders in GitHub.
Yeah. So this is almost like label or whatever.
Lists are another way that you can kind of group things together too. I'm not a huge fan of them, but they don't like to do that.
Less right in
Maybe better filter them up. Like in Azure repos, you can filter on not on Azure repos, in Azure boards. Like an Azure board, like in here, you can filter on type, language. They're kind of useless, to be honest, because like if something's been archived, it still shows up as public. So if I picked public or internal, it'll show all the internal and the internal archived. I have no idea why they do that.
This can
it can be better. I'm sure it can be better. I mean, this makes sense for the open source world. Picking the language and the type, that makes sense. And when you get to an enterprise, I think they'll start to get feedback that's, you know what, I got 1,000 repos in my org, and I need to be able to filter on, like to, for whatever. I mean, who knows what technology type, or not just technology, but also maybe owner.
all the line of business, right?
Yeah, or right in first team. Show me all things about this thing.
By the way, another thing that I mentioned in this is the GitHub packages, right? As a package solution, which is really, really good. And it supports containers. OCI containers too. Very, very cool. And again, it's all there's a bunch of stuff that comes for free. It's some storage charge at some point if you're really, really using it heavily. Again, very good package management solution built in. Right.
Thanks.
Did I answer your question, Oliver?
Yeah, thanks for. Yeah, I like this addition of a member to like an LDAP, and it immediately assigns you like you don't need to manage all yourself. So
Yeah, well, again, I wouldn't necessarily use the word immediately, but links at it,
yeah,
it from actually it might take a few minutes to actually sync the users,
Automatically is the right word.
but it does automatically. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
But again, it's really good. It allows you to, again, it allows you to manage all the group memberships, right? Inside the AD. Just keep that, right? Don't recreate the structure group and yeah, right? Just keep it in one place and make supporting a lot easier. Right? Again, there's a lot of really cool stuff we can talk about, and the in the past, GitHub has been primarily open source focused. There's a lot of really, really excellent enterprise features that become available now, and you can make a solid case that you get to use GitHub inside the enterprise because, again, it has all the open source power, allows you to still keep all the enterprise level that you need, right? All right. Any other questions? Dave, anything? Mustafa, any questions?
Gives people something to think about and look at.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I guess this will that's the end of the presentation. If you have any questions, you can we can reach out myself or Dave. You can use the meet directly. Again, find our contact information pretty easily.
Ideas or thoughts of the presentation you'd like to see? Let us know.
And we like this. So we have what's it? We have the next session that's scheduled today. Again, data pipelines. Again, the presenter is really, really good. He knows his stuff. Register today only. And the GitHub app. Again, that's also really, really good, especially when it comes to GitHubs. Okay, or infrastructure as code for that matter. All right. Thank you very much for attending. Please let us know. If you have any suggestions, requests, or if you again interested in presenting on any topics. Thank you all.